right now, but as we go along. And we're going to start with Dipa Joshi. Dipa is Director at Assael Architecture, recently been appointed as Design Advocate for the Mayor of London's Good Growth Design Programme. And Dipa helped judge the International Nighttime is the Right Time competition, the ideas competition that we ran with the Mayor of London's office, and that was in the exhibition upstairs. And so over to Dipa, please.
Thank you. Thank you. Take some photos. Hi. It's a pleasure to be here tonight with this amazing panel of people. So I come to you from the background of working at Assael for the last 14 years. Assael specialises in mixed-use regeneration, residential-led. So most of our clients are house builders and developers with a really commercial edge. And I'm a big advocate of culture. I always have been, and I found it increasingly difficult through the years to convince them that sites are viable, not only for cultural use, but for affordable workspace use as well. So yeah, a bit about my background. I've been in London. I lived in London for about 25 years. I came here to do my Part 2 in architecture. And I've always wanted to get involved with music. I always wanted to sing. So I joined bands. I was in a band called the Asian Dub Foundation when it first started. Got involved with the Asian underground scene, involved with a club called Anoka, and Talvin Singh's Asian underground movement. I also my boyfriend ran clubs, so I was involved with running clubs when I was doing my Part 2, and sort of really went to most places in London in my 20s. And 30s, and in bands I've done gigs at all different types of venues, so really kind of entrenched in that whole scene of, my kind of history in London is one of being thoroughly involved with all of the nighttime spaces throughout the day and the night. Most of these places, unfortunately, have closed down. And all of these wonderful places that make up all the memory and the fabric of our kind of memory of what we do and how we pass our time, how we play, how we pass our leisure time in London, have closed down, sadly, and now become great precedent examples. There's a wonderful building at the Turnmills, on the site of Turnmills, where I spent most of Saturday nights researching and thinking through the sampling ideas of my Part 2 architecture project. And now it's this wonderful hit and miss building, which we're using as an architectural precedent, but that's not what we want. We want these places to stay, to remain as part of London's history. So recently, I've been lucky enough to be appointed as one of the Mayor's design advocates. There's a little write-up actually on my LinkedIn on the Assael website about the first day that we had last Monday, which was the beginning of this venture that we're involved with the Mayor. And luckily, he is an advocate of culture. And I think it's our duty as designers involved with him to raise the profile of these cultural spaces and to bring forward ideas and to try and make whatever's happening stick. One of the places that I've encountered recently, I live in Wimbledon. Found out about this amazing place in Tooting called the Sound Lounge, and the Mayor actually mentions this venue in his guidance. Obviously, he's from Tooting, and it's suddenly Tooting came on the map. Got this. I went to the opening night. I was like, wow, we've got a Shoreditch in Tooting. It's really happening here on our doorstep, and it's an amazing story of this couple that crowdfunded their space to materialise and take place, and all these lovely people that helped with the decor and got on board and enabled them to provide this wonderful space. It's been open about 7 months. It has a whole series of different types of events, from community to yoga events and loads of music and live music. It's a new grassroots live music venue. But hey, what happened? I went on the website, Save the Sound Lounge. It's already under threat from developers. I mean, you know, I was absolutely devastated. I was doing this research for this presentation last week, and I was like, whoa, get on Twitter and, you know, get on board. Luckily, you know, obviously this is a quite high-profile venue because of its location. The MP was there on Saturday, and there's going to be a lot of lobbying, and, you know, let's hope they can save it. But, you know, this is what happens. Areas become popular, they become cultural, they get an identity, there's a scene, and then obviously there must be a low rent involved with this building, and the developers, the owners have realised they can make a lot more money from converting it to a mixed-use residential-led development. Residential doesn't always go with noisy uses because it costs money to soundproof these uses, or you have to sandwich it with a layer of office space. All of these things add to the cost. So how can we save existing venues? Protect the lease? Yeah, maybe. Protect use designation. Local authorities need to get involved with this. You know, the crowdfunding, maybe crowdfunding ownership. You know, maybe we can use new technology like the blockchain, and people can actually all, instead of just crowdfunding the launch of the development, actually own it. Community ownership, is that the way forward? People owning the development would protect from the developers from being able to buy it. And I've just been talking to one of our other panel members about that sort of thing is actually happening. These things are starting to happen. I found this briefing paper, which is quite a new piece of government guidance, which is about protecting pubs. And there's now the ability for local people to actually buy a stake in their local pub and prevent it from being redeveloped. Another thing, you know, all these pubs being lost to development. So we need a custodian of culture. I stole that title from my colleague, actually. She sits next to me, and she did a degree in musical theatre. She's my PA. And she does presentation training in the office now, and she also runs events to help people gel them together, gel the company together. And her title is now Custodian of Culture. And I thought, you know, this is what cultural activity in London really needs. It needs community ownership. It needs people to get involved who are in authority, and empowered by the GLA maybe, local authorities, regen teams. And then there's a thing that we're involved with, which is actually a small glimmer of hope from the sort of private sector developer led area. So first of all, just a bit about local authorities. I found this scheme in Waltham Forest. So Waltham Forest are one of the boroughs vying to be one of the boroughs of culture, which is part of the strategy in the Mayor's Good Growth Programme. And they're doing quite a lot to try and win. I feel sure that they must, because I see so much that they are doing. One of the things is this pub. So this pub called the Royal Standard was well known to be a place where lots of people in the area meet. It had music venues, lots of famous bands played there, so it had a real history. Closed down in 2011, and this mixed-use development came about. It was going to be a supermarket on the ground floor, but the local authority have got really heavily involved with it and brought it forward as a pub, as a venue, and to have live music. So that will happen. Another thing that they're doing is setting up the night market. And there's a program manager in charge of running this event. They're really proud of it, and it started to happen. Some friends of mine live in the area. They've started to go. It's really opening up their market and bringing it forward as a place to have all day and all evening activity. So build to rent. Within the last 9 years, we've become much more involved with this new area of residential development, which enables a lot of people to come on board who rent the apartments, and it's institutionally managed. So it's not just a private developer who builds and then leaves. The business model relies on people coming in and actually buying into a lifestyle. And these renters can vote with their feet. They're private renters. They can go and rent somewhere else if they want. So why rent at their development? The emergence of more of these companies means that there's a competition in the air, and the more competition encourages better quality. So better quality means, what are they getting for their money? Let's see what they can get. They're not renting the apartment, they're renting the whole building, the whole development. And we're seeing an emergence of better quality spaces and better quality management. And that means we get roof gardens with events happening, and we get things like this. So another project in Walthamstow, Ferry Lane, built for Legal and General, who've built into their business model this idea that they want to provide a really good quality lifestyle for the renters. So it's on the edge of a reservoir, as you can see. This is the concept of what goes on in a build-to-rent development. So around the core, you see you have the back of house in grey. You've got the private accommodation. The back of house is all the bits of mechanics that need to make that building work. The residents' private accommodation are the blue areas. The residents' shared areas, which is what they have just for themselves. But the important part is this area at the front, the pink part. And that is the front of house. It needs curb appeal. It needs people coming by, people coming into the development on a daily or weekly basis who might be interested in renting. And it helps their business model. People come by, they see what's going on, they want to move in. So we built that into the design of this development from day one. The pink area is Walthamstow. You can see the station on the right there. On the left is the reservoir, and really building into the public realm, the routes through, the way people are going to actually interact with the scheme from the outset. So the scheme then provides areas where people are going to interact, and this area called the Forum is the front face, is the sort of the open door of the scheme, and that allows a whole kind of range of different spaces. Ground floor space where people can see the reservoir. People are actually filtering through the scheme. The scheme is going to be open to the public every day. There's this area called, this is the Forum, this is our vision for the Forum. And the Forum has event spaces. It's going to have a brewery, pub. It's going to have event spaces which have an outreach to the local community, again, fostered by the local authority. So it's not just the developer doing it for their own sort of philanthropic gain. There's a bit of coercion by the local authority, which has to happen. But it is part of the business model. So, people are going to be coming through. They've got a commercial venture. They've also built the soundproofing in, so you've got proper spaces that can operate with noisy, lively environments. And again, it's going to be the life of the scheme. So you've got people, pop-up uses as well, so people can really kind of interact and really kind of get a place to spend their money. All these people, these renters, people coming in, and they've got actually something to spend their money on in the evening to enhance the space, to give them a better quality of life. And that's from the sort of the hard edge of the private sector, a glimmer of hope for culture.